Greetings, class and professors. This is our PowerPoint final systematic safety failures of the Boeing 737 MAX program, including the legal, ethical, and biblical implications. Why this matters. It's not just a Boeing problem, it's industry-wide implications. It touches on the trust in aviation safety and the lives that were directly impacted. Overview of the 737 MAX. It's an updated version of the 737 platform designed to compete with the Airbus A320neo. It included larger engines, changed the aircraft's behavior, and introduced the MCAS system. Crashes: Lion Air 610, followed by Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302, resulting in 346 casualties and a global grounding of all Boeing 737 MAX aircraft. Root issues identified. The MCAS system's reliance on a single sensor in parallel meant that its secondary sensor also failed. It was an engineering failure and honestly very, very poorly designed. Limited pilot awareness. Pilots weren't even informed of the system, so there was an inadequate training, and there were assumptions made on how that happened. Communication failure as well. So from the factory, the airlines, there was just a disconnect from on all those different levels. Uh, Going forward into 2024, there was a door plug incident on the Alaskan Airlines MAX 9. It was a mid-flight structural failure. No fatalities happened, but it was a high-risk event, and it really shifted the concerns onto manufacturing regarding subcontractors and contractors, which doesn't only affect Boeing, but all different industries that provide parts for Airbus and Boeing. Was it a pattern or isolated events? Well, there were repeated safety concerns, there were manufacturing quality issues, and a systematic culture that did not reinforce safety, but reinforced performance goals. So it's kind of like a carrot and a stick. If you only throw the carrot in a certain way, no one's going to go for something that's going to give them the stick. So the viewpoint one of Boeing at fault, there was a prioritization of speed and cost, as well as a lack of safety being considered. So it was ignored in many ways, which led to that weak safety culture at the factory. And there was a pattern of negligence, both on the corporate side and during the design and production phase of the aircraft. And viewpoint two would be a shared responsibility. So airplanes are not just made in one place. There's a global supply chain that's very complex. The FAA has an oversight role in building these aircraft and uh, saying they're good to go for flight. Although the FAA did delegate a lot of that responsibility to the manufacturer. So there are suppliers and maintenance factors considered as well, and then system level failures um, in Boeing and higher up. So the legal framework, it led to product liability claims as well as negligence, a failure to award, and regulatory concerns for Boeing. And a key legal reality is the FAA's approval does not remove the liability that Boeing has. Manufacturers are still responsible. The lawsuits and settlements exist, and more litigation is ongoing, especially for the door plug incidents that happened in 2024. The ethical breakdown behind it is incentives drive behavior. That's human nature at play, as well as production versus safety pressure. A culture shapes decisions, and behaviorism influence. So, from a biblical perspective, if you look at Proverbs 11 1, it talks about integrity. In Luke 12:48, talks about responsibility. So, there's a stewardship of human life, and truth and transparency that are both biblical perspectives that weren't necessarily part of that consideration in certain aspects of the program. Solutions: stronger FAA oversight, reduced delegated authority, improved safety culture, and increased transparency. And what does this mean for you? It means stay informed, speak up on safety, do not normalize risk, and treat your role as a stewardship. And final thoughts: aviation runs on trust. Trust is hard to be rebuilt. Integrity must lead decisions. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.